Welcome to Empowered to Grow, the podcast. I am your host, Hanan El-Basha. I'm muted. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Empowered to Grow in Business podcast, the live version this season. I am very excited to be talking to you about today's topic, which is, what's your business persona? Are you shriveled like a raisin or are you plump like a grape? And funny enough, this was actually the analogy I got from my son as he was finishing off. He just finished school. And just 2 days before finishing, his comment was, "Oh my God, I feel like I've shriveled like a raisin throughout this year. I felt like I started this year plump like a grape, and I just had to do so much that I was just tired and kind of feeling that." And I'm like, interesting analogy, because that really applies to when we are building our business or in life generally. But because we are talking about being empowered to grow in business, then this is the point. When you are building up a business, you are just all in. And sometimes it's really just, it takes away from you. It drains you because you're go, go, go. And sometimes you're just kind of laid back and saying, I'll see how this works out. And yet, I think it's not an either or. You in business, you are not a raisin or a grape, because that's just not reality. And it doesn't just make sense. But you go through phases. Like when you're still at the idea stage, you're all about bringing that vision out on paper, on computer, talking to people, getting kind of that feedback, that validation of the idea at the beginning. Whether you are a startup or an SME, you still can't go to market without validation, without knowing that whatever you have in mind would be hopefully something that the market is looking for, that there would be paying customers for. And that is a part that is quite draining, because it's like, you're shriveling up, you're dehydrating like a raisin. You don't have time to stop and to breathe and to say, okay, let me see how this works and I'll take it easy, because you want to get to market as soon as possible. And then the next phase is, now, okay, you got the kind of the validation to go to market. You're kind of having the meetings with potential customers. You're refining your product market fit and what you actually want to serve them with, and your pricing strategy and all of this. And this happens. And then there is this part where you can start saying, okay, I can take a breather. That's the part, usually, unfortunately, that is just before the burnout. That's just where, like, if I breathe and just kind of take a step back and look at it from the macro view, look at what's working, assess what's working, what's not. That is the part where you start plumping up a little bit like a grape. Whether you can take a couple of days off to relax and reset and re-energize, whether you are taking it a bit like kind of a slower pace to see what's actually working, letting that validation come back to you, the A/B testing and all of this. That's the phase where, like, okay, it's a wait and see. That's another phase. And then there's the growth where you're like, okay, now we're in. Now there's, traction. Now we've got more of the customer base and all of this. And you start shriveling up again. And then, of course, when you get to beyond the growth and you get that solid customer base and the revenue streams are kind of more solid, then that's where you can breathe in. And hopefully that's where, you're closer to exit or to investments and more rounds and that kind of thing. The point is, yes, there are times that this will be enforced on you from the outside. And you have to keep go, go, go to be able to sustain the business and to grow the business and to grow from just, we're getting some revenues to hopefully getting some profit in looking at your profit margins and your revenue streams and expanding vertical, horizontal, and all of this. But I just wanted to bring today the message that you have to be conscious of which phase you're in, how much capacity you still have in you, like that hydration limit, if we want to take my son's analogy. Because if you keep at the raisin, we'll use the raisin. If you keep at the raisin phase for too long, it will not just be about being dehydrated and feeling that kind of, excuse me, whether you're tired or exhausted or even burnt out, which is not a good place to be, but it's not sustainable. And I always have to bring in the conversation, the part about your entrepreneurial wellness and your entrepreneurial well being. And that includes your mindset. Because if you are just going without thinking, without stopping to make conscious decisions about, I'm really tired, or I'm really drained, or I've been going in this loop for forever, and I have to stop to be able to take a break, to see things from a different perspective, to ask for different points of view and support, mentors, peers, consultants, advisors, then you're just going to be repeating that cycle. And a lot of people collapse and they don't talk about it. They collapse, they kind of get some whatever it is they need to keep going again, and it's not even enough to hydrate you another 5%, and then you keep going again. And that part is the part where you get too tired and sometimes on the brink of resentment of your business and the ecosystem and the market and the customers and all of this. And that's the part where people start giving up, or that's the part where your service starts deteriorating, or your customer relations start going down drain, and your stakeholders start questioning whether you have it in you or not. And I think that's today's message. Keep kind of a barometer, if we could say, or a thermostat, to be able to kind of assess your hydration levels, which means your energy levels, your motive, your grit, your perseverance, if you are able to keep going or not. If you do have the choice, and I know sometimes that's not a choice because, again, not delusional, not disconnected from reality, but sometimes we believe we don't have a choice, whilst in reality we do. If we do have a choice, that we can stop, even if it's a 24-hour stop. There's a break coming up, there are festivities coming up. Just take that time off. Enjoy life, enjoy your family, enjoy your friends, enjoy time by yourself, reset, re-energize, and just kind of say, okay, now I've kind of extracted myself from the big picture, from that is just a bit too much, and I can see things more clearly. And that is the part where you can be reassessing or revising, or kind of just looking at where you are at when it comes to your strategy, when it comes to the execution, when it comes to your targeted customer segments, when it comes to your marketing and your branding and your communication that's coming out. What is working, what isn't, what's getting you some traction, what people are saying, and take that breather. That's kind of the going back to plumping up. You might not be able to take a month off, or 2 or 3, or even a year, of course, because you are building up that business. But when you are able to take some time to look at the big picture, and then start honing in again on the micro details of what is composing the big picture, that's a time that you are rehydrating that raisin to some form of a grape, and you are able to see things more clearly in your business, and you're able to grow the business. And you can't grow the business, and I know I keep saying this over and over again, and I won't stop saying it. You can't grow a business from a place of dehydration on a personal level. You are the person, the leader, the owner, however your involvement is with your business, you are that person behind the business. And without your energy and your motive and your drive, then things are going to be reflected in your business. If you've ever heard me before, I dubbed something called the syndrome. And that's the part where you will kind of feel the symptoms on a physical, mental, emotional level that just kind of leave you drained and exhausted. And you start having all these physical symptoms with gut issues, sleep issues, whether we're talking insomnia or not. You have a short fuse, you're angry, you feel like, you're always regretting those decisions you made right then and there because you were under so much stress and everything. And that's the raisin that I'm talking about. That's where you just feel that you don't have the capacity or the bandwidth to be able to take those decisions that you are content with, and that come from a place of comfort, maybe, but at least as informed as possible decision making. And that's another concept I've spoken about before. So just be conscious and be aware of where you are at, how you are feeling. And if you are a raisin right now, summer's coming in. And I know for a lot of people, summer is like, woohoo, beach and sun and fun. And for others, it's like, no, it's too hot and I still have to go to work. But it does slow down across the globe a little bit. And if you do have the chance to get a weekend off, take it off. No laptop, no emails, nothing. The world will not collapse in 48 hours. I know that's sometimes hard to believe, but if you're able to take 24, 48, 72 hours, just take them. Just sit. Ground yourself however you want to ground yourself. I ground myself at the sea. And that's why I might be a bit tanned right now, because I got 3 days by the sea. And that for me is really important. It is how I ground myself and how I plump up semi-grape sometimes of the year. And I'm able to just kind of see things from a different perspective. Just sit and just calm down. You kind of, slow down the pace in my head with all the thoughts and everything that's going through, and able to make better decisions about my business, about my life, about how I'm approaching it, what kind of strategy I'm using, who am I targeting, who are collaborators and kind of people I can work with. Because we don't live in vacuums. We live in ecosystems, and ecosystems are all about collaboration and people coming together to be able to create bigger things and create bigger impact. And I think at every core of every business idea, it's about that. It's about the impact. How many people's lives are you trying to change? Whether you're creating the next most amazing cookie in the world, or you are planning to go to Mars and kind of colonize other places because Earth it's getting too small for us. So we need to think from these perspectives, and we can't do it when we're feeling drained and we're always on very, very low energy, whether on a physical level, emotional level, or mental level. And that's where I invite you to assess and re-energize and be able to come from a place where you are still as excited about bringing your business to the world, and even pivoting your business to bring to the world something even better than what you had originally envisioned. And that's okay. So that was my message for today. If anyone has any comments or any feedback, or you want to share stories about how you were able to come back from that place, from the raisin all the way to the grape, if you can, or at least, kind of get those hydration boosts to be able to keep on your business and your entrepreneurial venture, please do share them. I would love for more people to share and to get this conversation going. I think that was the whole purpose of Empower to Grow in Business podcast. Always excited to be with you. And yes, it's not a Wednesday. It was supposed to be a Wednesday, but as I said, I was on the beach. But I will hopefully try to make it as consistent as possible. It will be once a week, whether it's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We'll see how it goes. But beyond that, please just give yourself the grace and the space to be able to impact the world you originally envisioned, or even better than you, or more than you've originally envisioned. And that's my message for today. I hope you have an amazing plumping journey, if we want to keep using the same analogy, and for you to bring massive impact and service to the world. And as always, I wish you love, abundance, and prosperity, and I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to the Empower to Grow podcast. I'll catch you on the next episode. And until then, know that empowered you empowers others. Love, abundance, and prosperity to you all.